Trailering a boat, launching, retrieving, and well, the boat ramp in general can be the most stressful part about boating, especially when you're doing it alone. But today you're gonna roll with me and I'm gonna teach you everything, what, why, how, and all the little secrets that I know about trailering, so that way you can actually enjoy hooking up and hitting the ramp with your boat. Skipping all the boring stuff, when you get here, just pull over to the side of the road and we're going to unhook our trailer lights so they last longer. Unhook our trailer straps from the back, put the drain plug in, pull our transom saver out, and load the boat. Or depending on how far you had to drive, you could just load the boat at your house before you get to the ramp. But just make sure you're loaded before you get in line. If there is a line, like there's a couple other people waiting to use the ramp and then someone using the ramp, you can just wait for them to leave, or you can just get in line and wait for your turn at the ramp. Now, as we pull up on the ramp, we want to get as close to the ramp as we can, and then we're going to make a turn and we're going to get straight with the ramp. The straighter we get, the better off it's going to be. The straighter you start, the easier your job's going to be. On smaller docks like this, you're going to want to find a reference point to use for when you're backing down your trailer and what you want to keep straight with. Like on this one, it has a dock here, so you could either use the dock as your reference point, or you could use the road here. This road's a little curved, but you can use the road as a reference point. But you always want to come and look at your ramp once you get down here, because you see how this one's got a separation from the dock. You don't want to get too close to that. And then also, you don't want to get too close down here. You want to check this for algae and how slick the ramp is, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Knowing these reference points, this is where their secrets are going to come out in making this successful. Now, no matter what is going on, how many people are here, I want you to take it slow and easy. Just remember, everybody that's in that line that's around you, I can guarantee that they were where you are at some point in time. They're just about 20 launches ahead of you. So if you want to, just turn this into like a game and a countdown of 20, because once you hit 20 launches and you've launched your boat 20 times, you're going to be pulling in and out of these ramps like it's nobody's business, and you're going to be just as good as everybody else. It just takes practice, and just put a number to it. I'm going to do 20 launches, because I guarantee you once you hit 20, you're going to be great. Now, the first secret is going to be to use those reference points and to know how to maneuver a trailer. Very simple. Hands at the bottom of the steering wheel. If you go to the left, the trailer's going to go to the left. If you go to the right, the trailer's going to go to the right. So all you got to do is look at your mirrors and look at the trailer and your reference points, being the tires of the trailer, which direction they're pointed, as well as the dock being your other reference point. We're going to put the truck into reverse and start backing down and watching our mirrors to see where we've got our reference points going. Now, once you get onto the ramp, our next secret is going to be not to put the truck in reverse anymore because of the downslope. So if you've got a bigger boat or the boat weighs the same as your truck, then put it into neutral, and then you're just going to let the weight of the boat pull us back into the water. And it's going to make it way easier to use your hands to guide the trailer down in there. It's just a way better thing. And then remember, when you're on the ramp, always use your e-brake when you stop. Never just put it into park, because parking is using your transmission, and if something fails, then you're going to lose your truck and everything. It's all going to go in the water. So always use the e-brake. And if it's on a really steep ramp, then you can use a wheel chock as well if you need to. Something else on that note, the steeper the ramp, the more dangerous it is. And you want to look at your ramp, because if you come down here, you can see once you get into the water right here, at certain times of year, there's lots of algae. This is where the ramp is very slick. So if you do not have a four-wheel drive vehicle and you only have two-wheel drive, you want to try and not get your back tires into the water, because if you get those back tires in the water with the boat and it's very slick, that is another way you're going to lose the truck into the water. So just keep that into mind. And then on ramps like this that aren't that steep, it's not as much of a concern. I'll probably get my tires into the water on this ramp, but yeah, you need to make sure you remember that. Once you get the boat back down to the ramp, you're going to want to have a line on here. Normally you're going to do this at the prepping stage, but there's no one here at the ramp, so I went ahead and did it now. And you're going to take this line, whether a long line or just long enough to let the boat come off of the trailer. We're going to hook this line to our truck in here on one of these cleats if you don't have a dock, or you can hook it to the front of the trailer, or if you have a dock you can hook it to one of the pilings, wrap it around your guidepost, that way it goes on the inside and the boat will float out. That way whenever we put the boat in the water, it'll just catch the boat with the line and you won't have your boat floating off. Another thing is that now that we're down here, we can unhook our safety chain and our winch. Now we have a bunk trailer, so we have these bunks right here. The boat's not going to slide off of this trailer, but if you have rollers on your trailer, you want to wait until you get the boat down in the water. You want the whole trailer in the water and the back end of the boat floating before you unhook this winch. Otherwise you're going to dump your boat out on the ramp and you're going to have a big problem. I don't have to worry about that, so I'm going to unhook our winch right now and just unwind some of this, so that way this is off and I can go ahead and splash the boat here. And I am also, since we have the pilings, I'm going to go ahead and take my line here and I'm going to run it over here to the piling. So now I've got my line on the boat to the piling. Again, you can do the piling, you can do the truck, you can do the trailer, anything, that way the boat just doesn't float away. Now we're just going to back the trailer back into the water, and the boat, we're going to watch the boat and the guideposts on the boat or the trailer fenders, whatever, and we want to see whenever the boat starts to float off of the trailer. That is crucial. You want to back the boat just enough to where it starts to float off of the trailer. And just like that, we got the boat off of the trailer, easy peasy. It's not floating away, it's standing here. Once you got the boat off of the trailer, you're going to want to look at your fenders and your guideposts, so that way it's going to give you a gauge of how deep you need your trailer to be. For me, this ramp is not very steep, so I have to get the bunks all the way under in the front in order to get the boat off of the trailer. But when you put it back on, look at how far your tires are in the water, how deep your trailer is, so that way you know when you load the boat back onto the trailer, you know how far to back this trailer back into the water. For me, it's just right here up there, or I can just look and I can just barely get my tires into the water, and I know that's as deep as I need to go in order to load the boat back onto the trailer. And then also, if the ramp is very busy, you can see on the smaller boat, your line from the front, you can just take it, wrap it around the piling, and then wrap it around to the back. That's going to keep your boat here into position. But if it's a busy ramp, you want to move your boat out of the way over to here so other people can continue to use the ramp. When it comes time to put the boat back on the trailer, there are two ways that we can do it. Pull your strap out and then hand winch boat onto the trailer, or you can drive the boat onto the trailer, whichever is easier for you. When it comes to winching the boat onto the trailer, that's by hand. You can do the same trick with the rope. You can tie a rope to the bow and then run it over to the front of the trailer, climb out there, and then pull it up to where you can get to the strap there. I want to say that on a steeper ramp, you don't want the trailer as deep because it'll make it a pain to get on the trailer. It'll just be floating around back here, and the front will just be floating there. So on a steeper one, you don't want too deep, but too shallow, you won't be able to get the boat up on the trailer. So you kind of need to find that happy medium based on the incline of your ramp. If you choose to drive the boat onto the trailer, your skills will come into question about how you maneuver your boat, but it all depends on the wind and the current. So if you look at these leaves right here in the water, you can see they are floating this way, so that means the current is going that way. And you can also see a breeze, like you can see there's a breeze going this way. Look at that thing that's floating in the breeze. So the wind and everything's going to push us that way. So it's more about trying to get the boat straight with the trailer, but the nose, you want the nose to land in the middle of your two guideposts, which means you're going to want to come in and like overshoot it, so that way the wind and the current will push you back, and then you can drive straight on the trailer. Again, this takes a little more skill and practice. Back to that number of 20 times that you launch, that's part of that. Once you get in between the guideposts, as long as your bunks and your trailer is set up properly, it's going to guide the boat onto the trailer. So you'll see it moves the bow right into place. Now you're going to give it a little bit of gas to drive you up there, but you want to make sure that when you do that, that your bow is straight with the roller, because if your bow is to the side of the roller, you're going to mess up your boat. So always make sure that that is straight in line if you're going to drive the boat on there. And then we're just going to give it a little bit of gas to push the boat up onto the trailer, which is pretty easy. You just give it a little bit of gas, keep your engine straight obviously, and you'll see it push the boat up onto the trailer. And now you're going to leave it into gear without gas, and you can come up here, get out of the boat, and you can tie your safety chain and your winch and winch it up the rest of the way. Pretty easy. Now there's one more crucial step before we take the boat out of the water, and that is to turn the engine off. And a good habit is to turn the engine off and immediately trim it. Do not leave the engine down, or else you will forget and you will knock the skeg off on the way out of the trailer. So go ahead, trim this thing up, and then we can pull it all the way out. Also, if you look down here, you can notice there are different things. When you pull out of the water, you can always put this into 1, which is going to be your low, which is going to give you the best torque and the easiest way of pulling it out. Don't just leave it in D with overdrive. Put it down into your lowest gear before you pull the boat out of the water. Once you get the boat out of the water, you can go ahead and put your transom saver on, pull your drain plug, get your straps on, and you can go home. Unload the boat if you got a bunch of stuff in it. And all these secrets are going to help keep you from making mistakes. The number one probably being people overcorrecting and not being able to get the trailer back in, or leaving the drain plug out. There is that one.